Hey everybody, before this video gets started, I want to give a huge shout out to the entire staff at Oni-Con down here in Galveston, Texas, because if it weren't for them, this video would not have been possible, and I appreciate the opportunity. And if you're into anime, and if you're into cosplay, it is one of the absolute most fun conventions I've ever been to ever since the very beginning. That being said, on with the show! Hey there, I'm G, and welcome to the next level, and I've got something incredibly special for everybody today. So I'm here at Oni-Con 2017 in Galveston, Texas, and I have the honor of being able to have a sit-down interview with one of my favorite voice actresses ever. She's been very pivotal to many things when I was growing up, whether it be anime, whether it be video games, so many roles that I've enjoyed, from Lena Inverse to the voice of Amy Rose and Sonic the Hedgehog. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and peeps around the world, Lisa Ortiz.
Hi everybody, how are you?
Great. Once again, Lisa, thank you for joining me today.
It's awesome to be here. It's very cool.
So you've done an incredible array of characters. So much range, so many wide assortment of different types of characters. Mainly, what really got you into voice acting? Like, what were your first real big inspirations of getting into voice acting?
Well, I have to say, I was a big cartoon person when I grew up, so I was a hardcore watcher. If I watched, Voltron, all those. I was a big Gem and the Holograms, and I was a huge Transformer and G.I. Joe person.
Yes.
So I basically, I watched anything that was on, and so I had gone to school for theater and performance and stuff. So when the opportunity for this came along, I jumped at it. It was very cool.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. And my brother stole my car, but that's a different story. That's how it goes into there. He kind of, and the search for it is when I found out. I bumped into a friend who was working at Central Park Media at the time.
Oh, nice.
And that was sort of how that happened. So we talked, he's like, we're looking for people to audition. I was like, how about me? That would be great. And that was when I first did Record of Lodoss War and a bunch of the other ones, yeah.
Of course. So perfect going into Record of Lodoss War. So talking about when I first really started getting into anime in high school, you were part of the mainstays, the gateway anime I got into. Deedlit, Record of Lodoss War, Lala from Now and Then, Here and There, which is very underrated, wonderful anime. You were the voice of Fu in Ray Earth, which I talked about in my last video about Magic Knight Ray Earth. And those sort of takes, of course, Lena Inverse and Amy Rose. Yeah. Is there a character in particular that you feel that you are the most related to, or was the most relatable?
We were talking about this today, and I basically have told people I'm a crossbreed. I've got half of the personality of Lena if you mix her in with either Deedlit or Azaleen from there. I think if you mix those two together and you have less firebombing, that's me.
Of course, it's just with the wave of a finger. Fireball.
Exactly. We keep that down. But it's sort of, so it's, because you put some of what you do into everything, and so Lena has a very sarcastic, sort of vaudevillian kind of sense of humor.
Right.
And and the other ones were sort of my, a little more quieter side of me, so.
Excellent. Have you ever thought about, hey, I really wish I could just do that, just once, just one fireball, just one.
Oh gosh, yeah. Are you kidding? Of course. There's plenty of people I would love to char if I could, as long as they could stay up afterwards, it'd be a good thing.
It's like, we don't want to kill
just in a
anybody.
friendly way,
Let that power gather in my hand.
Do you have any interesting and heartwarming sort of stories from working on Slayers?
For working on the show itself, we loved the show, the whole gang that worked on it. So when we wound up, especially when it came back for when they came back for Evolution,
right.
We everybody was super psyched to be able to. We were kind of chatting. We would find each other at cons and say, "Did you hear that? That maybe they're gonna come back. This would be really cool." But one of the coolest, there were two things that were really, really cool, and this was when I first started off. There's an anime, there is a convention in Texas that I had gone to that a long time ago, two things happened. It was very military that was over there. And one of the guys gave me, which was really funny, he gave me he gave me like one of the coins that they get. He gave me, which I still have at home, because he would watch Slayers while he was out in the field, which to me I was like, at least it's, I was like, I thought that was one of the coolest things. And then at that same convention, there was one of the medics who was there who had taken care of me. He had just had a baby. And then I got to meet the baby 10 years later, and he was showing him Slayers. So that was very fun.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So.
I love stories like that. That's too true. But kind of speaking of stories, so because I know I've always wanted to meet you in the past. And I was actually at a local comic store here in Houston, and I happened to find, as I was looking through the comic section, I happened to find this copy of Slayers #1, and I looked really closely at it, and I was like, is that Lisa's signature? That is. It was Lisa's signature. And I thought to myself, it's like, you know what? I wish that someday I could meet her, and here I am today.
That's so cool. I'm so glad that we were able to do this. But that's really funny because we did like a limited run of those that we had and we had signed. So that's really cool. That's
awesome.
Really cool.
I had no idea about that they actually did it in a limited print like that. So that's amazing. Let's talk about Sonic.
Okay.
So with Sonic, I've been a huge fan of Sonic since the very beginning. Since '91, since I got the pack-in with the Genesis that came with Sonic the Hedgehog, I've been a huge fan. I even watched Sonic X like right as it first started airing. And when I found out that you were going to be the voice of Amy Rose in the Sonic X anime for the English dub of it, of course I got incredibly excited. I was like, oh, Lena Inverse is going to be Amy Rose? Like, that's amazing. So tell me, how did you come upon the role, and what did you do to prepare for Amy?
I mean, I was familiar with Sonic at the time, but we were at that time, especially in 4Kids, where we were recording in New York. There was we had a bunch of shows that were going on at the time, so you'd kind of come in for them, you come in for audition, you're like, I hope that this is that, but that one was awesome. I actually worked with, directing at that time was Andrew Reynolds, who's done a whole bunch of other stuff now. In the beginning, actually trying to find her, I was, because she's so cute and perky, but at the same time so like just, like with her, I think that's an official term. But exactly, official term. And so I used to come in, and obviously her voice was higher and sort of like up in there when she was doing anything that was there, so you had to kind of we'd come in and do stuff like that. So that was sort of just the prep. Like, we worked on her for a little while, and then we kind of just like ran in, and we had so much fun like in the booth. It was very cool.
Excellent. You kind of took it and you made it your own, and that's wonderful to be part of the evolution of Amy throughout the years, because her character has evolved so very much. And that's great that you were part of that. What's your favorite Sonic game? Because I'm assuming you probably were a fan of the Sonic games before Sonic X, or were you? And if you were, what's your favorite Sonic game?
This is a good question, because yes, there's games that I was like growing up, I was like a Genesis girl. That's fine, like we did. Yeah, exactly. Can't tell you. Started on my Altered Beast days.
Yes.
It's very good. Yeah, I remember. Sorry, this is a sidetrack, but I remember like showing video games and like showing them to my mom, and like coming into the room, just hearing the beast die over and over and over again as it hit the wall. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, Mom, you're supposed to play past that." She's like, "I just like the sound it makes when it dies." So maybe we weren't. Maybe it wasn't the household exactly, but. As far as the game, I had played a bunch of them, but it's different than the ones that we played and the ones that we did, because we did like this. It was the Sonic. It was like a Dark Knight. Is that
Sonic and the Black Knight.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That was. I know it was a different game than from some of the other ones, but that one was very sort of fun. Like I liked that a lot. But as far as the Sonic, and there's the racers and all that stuff. But yeah.
Okay, great. My favorite, of course, is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Which always will be my favorite, but that was I guess Amy Rose kind of was there because she was in Sonic CD, which came out before that. So I guess she was kind of there yet. But.
I don't believe it. Even if that was true. If I had to choose between the world and Sonic, I would choose Sonic.
And Sonic, the reboot, Sonic 06. It's like you were the voice of Amy Rose in that. So I'm sure you probably know about sort of the legacy that Sonic 06 has kind of made for itself. After you did the role of Amy, did you get a chance to play Sonic 06? And if you did, what were your thoughts?
No, I did not play. Well, here's the thing. I did not play all the way through. I watched other people play.
Okay.
So, but I'm like, the legacy of it. Tell me more. See, this is where we educate each other. Let's see.
Okay, so with Sonic 06, it's developed quite a bit of a legacy over the years of it being not the highest quality. It has some glitches, it has some problems. I can tell that Sega was trying to do so much in such a short period of time on a brand new set of consoles, and then somewhere around the line it just kind of didn't quite blend all the way together. And so I find that a lot of people will just say, oh, the game's bad, it's terrible, and then I ask them, well, have you played it? No. Well, there you go. I mean, how can you know if it's bad without playing it? I mean, I've played it. So I was just kind of curious because I didn't know if you had played it and if it was good for you.
Like I said, I only played a little bit. I watched other people play who were maybe a little better than me, considering that my legacy is having, Altered Beast go into the wall with my parents. These are our high points. I've gotten so much better since then, okay? That was the beauty. I'm much, much better now. But I did not play, a lot of them I didn't play all the way through, but I watched the stuff that I watched, we would watch through and see stuff, and a lot of times we played and we watched cutscenes and stuff, but I did not play through the entire game. I should sit down and play through it. You think I should?
Yeah, give it a shot. It's actually, it's interesting. It's pretty interesting. Real quick, as you're talking about Altered Beast.
Yes.
How much would you love to see a new Altered Beast? Would you like to see Sega make a new game?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes. Yes. See, I've been saying that Sega should make a new Altered Beast.
Do it.
Seriously, they made one for PlayStation 2 a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, it didn't really do so well, but I'm hoping that they make it, along with a lot of their other IPs, I hope that they bring them back along with, now that Sonic is in a big comeback with Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces, I'm hoping that they'll bring back some of the other franchises, and yeah, that would be excellent. Do you have any interesting or really sort of heartwarming stories? So I know you told one about Slayers before. Do you have any with Sonic fans that you might have interacted with?
The biggest one I will say is actually with my nephew. My nephew is autistic, and but he loves cartoons and animation, so he goes through in there. And for some reason, we had other things. He would sort of like run off and do different things, and they showed him Sonic X. I mean, he's like 6 now, but he would sit and watch the whole thing, and he says quotes from it. He wears that. He will like run around in the hat. He will do the whole thing. So, and it's like sometimes besides sort of the games and doing things like that, it's a great way for some people to be able to like communicate. So we bonded over that, which was very cool.
Oh, wonderful.
So. Plus, he has good taste. What can you say?
Starting the kid off right.
Exactly.
Have you seen the family that's around here that's dressed up in all Sonic
No,
characters?
I didn't.
Like the father is Robotnik, Eggman, whatever, and then the daughter is Tails, and the little baby boy is dressed up
No,
as
I
Sonic.
didn't want to see them.
They're absolutely adorable. I'm not sure if they're in costume today, but if you see them, they're wonderful. It always warms my heart seeing the kids of today getting into Sonic, and not just the newer games, but for the older games too.
Well, that's one of the things that was interesting to me, because a lot of them, it's you have the games, you have that, and then you have sort of this whole history of animation, and now it's not the same as it was before. We had to wait for it to show up on TV. You had to do this. Now you can sort of like punch in and look and see what you find online, or a lot of stuff is there. So you have people who are for the first time. I mean, we were always watching videos and all that stuff, but it's kind of it's really cool to see them and to know that it holds up and that they like enjoy it as much as they did, as much as we did back then.
Oh, yeah. What is your favorite video game of all time, and do you have any fond memories and stories about it?
Okay, all right. So this is not. I'm not going to go back to Sega. We're going to do it forward in time. I will admit that my favorite video game is Skyrim. Okay.
Nice, good choice.
My favorite video game is Skyrim, and I will tell you that yes, I have a story. I don't know if it is heartwarming, but it is. I would play with my ex who had and his son. We would always play, and. We'd gotten to Skyrim because I was a huge Oblivion person beforehand, so I introduced him to Oblivion, and I think he was upset that I was a higher rank than him in Oblivion, so when I would come over, we would play Skyrim, and he had to make sure that he was levels ahead of me, so at one point we would take turns, because, so his son got in trouble, so he threatened to throw Skyrim out the window.
Oh, wow.
Because he wasn't cleaning his room. So he didn't, and he threw Skyrim out the window. Now the window leads to a little roof. I'm totally admitting this. It leads to this little roof area over here that was up over the sofa, but it was my turn to play. So he left, and I went outside, climbed down the window on the roof, went and got Skyrim so I could come back and have my turn.
Nice. That's
so,
dedication.
Yeah, that's dedication. So that is. I don't know if it's heartwarming, but it's. It is accurate.
Nice. Do you have any idea of how many hours you put into Skyrim?
I wouldn't know. I mean, we played for a long, long time, and I still, like, every once in a while, I'll still pick up and just wander around. So I probably, I don't know, like, how long is the game?
You can go for hundreds. Without finishing the game, like you can go for hundreds of hours.
Because I played for like months and months, and I still like eventually like I put down and we picked up other stuff. Like I'm playing Zelda right now, and yeah, that was my plane ride.
I still haven't gotten a Switch yet, but when I will, that is one of the games I want to play.
I got it specifically.
And I'm dying to see what Skyrim is going to be like on there too, because it is coming to the Switch. I'm like, oh, Skyrim on the go.
I'm so excited.
Bye social life.
Yeah. See, luckily I travel since I live in New York. I ride the subway a lot, and I always bring books or things that I read, and flying out to these things. That's specifically I was waiting to get the Switch so I can just bring it with me.
And then the last question. Mm-hmm. And I have to get it, straight from yourself.
Okay.
Because the people out there, they gotta know. Mm-hmm. Sega or Nintendo?
I can't give you this one because I wanna Sonic. I wanna say and then I'm currently carrying Switch around, and we've got some area. This is hard. That's too hard of a question.
I understand.
But so I'm gonna say equal. Not really, but still.
No. I'm right there with you because it's like Sega at heart, but I love Nintendo too. So it's hard to
and there's more because but that's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that I do on Nintendo, but what I grew up with was we had Sega stuff. So that's my childhood is more that. I went across the street to play Nintendo.
Yeah, we all had a neighbor. That was the interesting thing, is that my neighbor, because I was a Sega kid and my neighbor was a Nintendo kid, and so I had the Genesis, he had the Super Nintendo, and so we would borrow each other's games and go back and forth, and it was a great time. It was a great time. And nowadays, with so many games being on multiple consoles, you don't have that as much.
Yeah.
But the exclusives are strong. That's where Nintendo's got it, in my opinion, right now. Their exclusives are so strong, but
yeah.
I mean, so are Sony's and so are Microsoft. So this really all comes down to what you like the most.
Yeah. See, I eventually had to, grow up and get all the systems. So.
Right.
I only say that because, hey. But yeah, so, yes, I was a Sega kid.
Great.
I just wish Sonic were here to enjoy this with me.
Thank you very much once more, Lisa. I really
Very
appreciate
cool. Thank you
sitting down and talking with me. If you'd like, tell people where they can find you online, like on Twitter
definitely.
and Facebook.
You can find me at Lisa Jam, LISE Jam on Twitter. You can also find me on Facebook. Just look for Lisa Ortiz. You can get me there. And on Instagram, you can find me as Lisa Cult Jelly. So,
excellent.
See you then. Little Lisa thing.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at G to the Next Level. I'll leave a link to Lisa in the description. And once again, on behalf of Lisa, thank you all for watching. I'm G, and I'll see you on the next level.
See you later.